And welcome to the new Norders LinkedIn Live webinar. I will be your host today. I'm Joonas Kylliäinen, CEO and co-founder of Norders, and today we will be talking about how B2B startups can be ready to hit their GTM targets in 2025. So, an exciting topic for today, a timely topic, pleased to say. A lot going on in 2024 for B2B startups. The market has been, pleased to say, interesting, and it's nice to see that the market is also excited about 2025. So, I'll be here today going solo about the topic, but please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll go through them at the end so we can discuss and brainstorm and challenge each other when it comes to hitting those big, ambitious, hairy GTM targets of 2025. And you might ask, who am I to talk about this topic? Well, at Norders, we are a Finland, Espoo-based, small but spicy B2B startup agency partner. We help ambitious B2B startups grow their brand so they can create profitable revenue growth. That's basically what we do and what we believe in. We're not a lead generation agency, and we're not a traditional digital marketing agency. We are a demand agency. So the philosophy behind us and our demand approach to B2B startup growth, and not only growth, but profitable growth, is that in order for B2B startups to win the market, to win the competition, and hit their targets, is to create a brand that creates demand in order to get to their revenue and sales targets in a profitable way. One thing I think many of our partners, our customers, B2B startup founders that I've discussed in 2024 have said that getting leads is becoming easier. A lot of cool automation tools around, a lot of cool new lead generation agencies around, and a lot of customer interest. So getting leads is not that difficult. When the market is difficult, challenging, and in constant change, there's a lot of interest. People are interested in how can they meet their goals, how can they reach their revenue targets and solve their problems. So there's a lot of interest. Getting leads is not the bottleneck. Many startups then go on and elaborate that getting high quality leads, that's where the bottleneck is. Or that the leads that they get, they don't go anywhere. Sales cycles are long, a lot of status quo, there's no progress with the leads, even if they are better quality. Last but not least, the startups that say that they get quality leads and say that they're able to close those leads into new customers, even with longer sales cycles, then tend to struggle being profitable. And in all honesty, that's what happened with us at Norders in 2024. We saw tremendous growth. We saw a lot of interest from the market that we were able to capture into high quality leads with many of the tools that I'll be going through today. We were able to create new sales. But in the a bit more quiet summer months here in Finland, we noticed that our profitability is basically non-existing. What to do about that? That's what we're going to discuss today. That's why you're here today, and that's what I'll promise to go through today. I tend to not say my full name when I'm doing an English keynote or a webinar, but it's Joonas Kylliäinen. I'm from Finland. I have started with my co-founders Norders Demand Agency now 2.5 years ago. The original version of Norders was started 5 years ago, so I've been a B2B sales and marketing entrepreneur for 5 years. Before that, I worked nearly for 15 years in B2B sales and marketing, from Fortune 500 companies to hyper-growth startups to family-owned SMBs, both in local and international aspects. And I quickly already went through the typical B2B startup challenges that we constantly now see in both early stage startups and then within a bit more mature startups. Brand obscurity, sort of almost by design for B2B startups, is a constant struggle. You are just starting up. How could anyone know you? If they don't know you, they can't buy from you. And if they just heard from you, they probably won't remember you. So brand obscurity is currently one of the biggest challenges we see B2B startups struggling with. Classic, short on resources. That's what we all struggle with, right? Constant challenge. If we have the team in place, the team is always packed up with tasks, packed up with new ventures, new ideas, new strategies to implement. And if nothing else, we're short on money. Startups, also almost by design, are working with bootstrapping budgets, with limited budgets, but still with ambitious goals and fast growth paces are need to be met. And maybe the shortest resource of them all, time. We don't have till 2028 to wait around so we can meet our GTM targets. Yes, we have our long-term goals. Yes, we have our long-term plans, but we need action now. We need results now. We need profitable growth now. Lack of quality leads, that I already mentioned as well. Getting leads is easy. I assume if you are as far as watching this, you know about LinkedIn automation, you know about email automation, you know about awareness stage ads that are cheaper but can now quickly create leads. But quality leads, ICP prospects that are ready to buy, that have budget to buy, that have the authority to make a purchase decision, never too many of those. And definitely one of the hot topics of 2024, long sales cycles. We see this over and over again, how this interest, those leads that we gather, do not move forward. So what to do? What can we do to solve these challenges? Those 4 challenges that I just went through, we all have them in different balances. Some startups, maybe they have a cool innovation, they got some nice PR, they have people backing them up, or maybe their founders are already famous in their industries and their brand is known. Or maybe they have now a disruptive product that is a lot cheaper than the competition and their sales cycles are actually pretty short. So it's a different balance between those challenges, but those are the challenges we constantly see. So how to tackle them, how to solve them. One thing we've seen for certain in 2024 is that traditional sales and marketing approaches no longer work. Hiring a team of SDRs, this mistake we've seen so many times this year. Okay, let's just hire in-house team. VCs they seem to love this approach. In-house team, easy to manage, easy to control, easy to put into the books, into the accounting, and let's just make them all call 100 calls a day. Classic. Doesn't seem to bring results. Brand obscurity is not being solved through cold calls. Building trust is not done anymore today through cold calls, especially when you need to do international sales, even global sales. How many of you recognize yourself not answering foreign numbers? Right? Okay, let's just do ads. Everybody loves ads. Ads do not work anymore either. People click less and less ads. Ads are becoming more and more expensive because the platforms are not making the same ad revenue anymore. Ads alone do not work. Internal teams, expensive, slow to ramp up, lacks the agility of an external specialized partner. Appointment booking agencies, outsourcing, that cold calling system, it's the same system, just being outsourced. Yeah, you might save some bucks, you might have a more risk averse of a solution, but the same tactic with a different shiny wrapper is not going to make it work because cold calling alone is not working anymore, as is not the pure ad strategy, which I just mentioned. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against these tactics. I think all these tactics are great, they're important, and they work, just not alone. And that's the key. They do not work alone. A new force has emerged, the rise of fractional demand leadership. Fractional leadership, that's a pretty old of a term, especially us startup founders. We've most likely worked with fractional leaders. We might have even been a fractional leader ourselves. So a fractional leader, once again, if you're already watching this, listening to this, you are familiar with the term fractional leader, but just so we're clear on terminology. A fractional leader is not a full-time leader. So it's a leader that has a leader position within one of the functions in the startup, but only with a fraction of a position. A typical fractional leader that we see is from 2 to 3 days a week. It can be spread around 5 days or 7 days a week, but the workload typically represents 2 or 3/5 of the week in total. And within that fractional time frame of the week, the fractional leader takes responsibility of a certain function and executes. The great thing about fractional leaders is that you only pay for value. Fractional leaders, I don't think I've seen a fractional leader position that would have been a hire. So it's always a freelancer, outsourced consultant kind of a package where you don't have the same full-time overhead as you have with a hire. So you only pay for value, you only pay for results. And fractional leaders, they also tend to have very well-gathered niche expertise. At least they should. That would be the first thing to look for in a fractional leader is that, okay, so if I'm getting a fractional CFO or fractional CEO even, they need to understand our industry, our product, our market, our customer base, right? But where I often see fractional leaders going wrong is that they're great with strategy. They're strategy masters, but they don't execute the strategy that they bring with them. Let me say that again, because I think this is now the first turning point of this LinkedIn Live webinar that we need to pay attention to. Startups should utilize fractional leaders. I highly believe in that. With Norders, we work approximately with 30 B2B startups every month to create their brand and to enable profitable growth for them. So we see a lot of fractional leaders that these startups have partnered. And so often we see that the fractional leader has amazing niche expertise. They really understand. They're from the industry. They've worked in the industry for several decades, but they don't execute the strategy they create. Or maybe the founder even has the strategy. That's typically the case, right? As founders, we have the vision, we have this big strategy, we know how we want to go to the market. Then we have this fractional leader, we're trying to save money, we're trying to be efficient, we're trying to work with the resources we have. So we hire a fractional leader, and all they really seem to do is play around with the strategy that we already created for them. To solve the B2B startup challenges that we see in the market, what we recommend B2B startups to do is continue investing into fractional leadership, but go more precisely into fractional demand leadership skill sets that we as B2B startups take in. So what's a fractional demand leader in comparison to other fractional leaders? A very typical fractional leader, this will be an easy comparison. A very typical fractional leadership position role we see is a fractional CMO, fractional marketing director, a person that takes over your marketing in your company. And here especially, we more often see that the fractional marketing director only plays around with the strategy, only plays around with the plan, only plays around with the brand, but does not bring the execution in. Whereas the demand by design as a philosophy, as a framework, as a strategy means that you, as a demand leader, you constantly execute, try, test, work with different tactics in a customer-driven way and keep iterating based on the understood, learned customer behaviors. So a fractional demand leader as a term already has built in the from tech to execution approach. So the first step to really start solving the current main B2B startup challenges is to look for a fractional demand leader within your organization. There's a lot of great ones out there. At Norders, we offer such a service. So look for a fractional demand leader. If you're an early stage B2B startup, I wouldn't go hiring a CMO. I wouldn't even go hiring maybe a sales director. You as a founder, you as a leader should have the vision. You should have the big picture strategy. You should have ownership of the go-to-market strategy. And at the early stage, before you have the world famous product market fit, I wouldn't go investing in sales director that's brought in or a marketing director that's brought in full-time with full-time overhead. So as a hired employee. If it's your co-founding partner, if you are one of the visionaries of the startup, if you're part of the birth of the startup, sure, If marketing or sales is your key expertise and you have that niche expertise about the market, the startup situation, and so on, go ahead. But I wouldn't bring an external full-time CMO or sales director, because demand leader, once again, by design, and I have not coined the term demand leader. That's from the big, beautiful Silicon Valley, from the guys who know the most, who earn the most, who make the most. Demand approach combines brand and revenue, combines sales and marketing, it combines awareness and conversion. So having a demand leader, you get best of both worlds. You have the lead generation sales approach, but you also have the brand and awareness approach. Looking at 2025, try to see how you can unite your brand and revenue, your marketing and sales, your awareness and lead generation and conversion approaches, and think about finding a fractional demand leader, either as an external consultant or partnering up with a demand agency like Norders. So how then to build a customer-driven demand plan? We have now agreed that these are the challenges, the 4 core challenges that our startups meet, and having a demand leadership position to take over them. So how then to build that customer-driven demand plan? I don't want to be the not fun guy in the party, but we really need to understand where we're at. This is the biggest obstacle we often need to overcome when we start working with new B2B startups at Norders. We always want to jump straight into the action. Okay, Joonas, let's start working together. Here's the money. Give me some hot leads and close them fast. No, we need to take a step back. And I don't mean taking a lot of steps back and slowing down. We can still move fast. We can still be agile, but we need to understand, okay, what's the solution here? That we're really offering to the market? What's our position that makes us really different in the market? Do we even have our own category that we can talk about? What's the market situation in general? Is there buying behavior? Is the recent election, the still ongoing war affecting the market? Energy crisis, that's something that's affecting our market. Who are our key competitors, direct and indirect? And what are the resources at hand? What's our internal management team like? What other team resources we have? Do we have a sales rep, marketing people? What technologies we're using? What's our tech stack for sales and marketing? How is our CRM being used? Do we have a marketing automation system? And once we understand the current situation, then we can start building the customer-driven strategy. What is the market-driven value prop that we have? What do we have that market is asking for? They might not know about the problem they have, right? Classic startup, but that we understand that they do have that problem and that they are willing to pay to solve that problem. Who is our ICP? It's funny with us humans, we so often do not seem to know who's our ideal partner. We do not seem to always know our ICP. So let's focus on that buyer persona. I feel like at some point we forgot about the beautiful buyer persona workshop mentality and having nicknames for our buyer personas. Let's go back there. Let's create our Mikes and Susans and Joonases. What they're like, what do they like? Where do they live? What do they eat? How do they sleep? How old are they? What do they really care about? And once we know these things, we can create the so-called Mafia Offer. It has its name from the movie Godfather, Marlon Brando going, "I'm going to make him an offer that's too good to be refused." Terrible Marlon Brando. Sorry, Marlon. It's a framework of 9 steps how we build our offer into an irresistible package. Go to Norders YouTube channel or Norders website if you're interested in the Mafia Offer framework at norders.agency, and you scroll all the way down. There's a link to download the Mafia Offer template. The toolkit you can steal for free, or at the YouTube there are videos. If you search Norders and Mafia Offer, you'll find a video about the framework. Or you can just DM me or our sales director Ray, and we'll be happy to talk everything about the Mafia Offer with you. Once we understand that irresistible offer package for our customers, for our ICP, we then need to map it out into digital journeys, because the current B2B buying process, the current B2B buyer journey is digital. It's digital first. Another big reason why cold calling is not working anymore. There's a lot of talk about B2B purchase process consumerization. So meaning B2B buyers are now acting within their B2B buying processes as they're acting as consumers. So how do we act as consumers? A typical example, I'll be happy to watch 100 hours of videos on YouTube about a new pair of sneakers I'm about to buy, but I'll do everything I can not to talk to a sales rep. So we want to educate ourselves. We want to learn about the stuff in a format that works well with us. That can be a video, that can be a podcast, that can be an article, that can be a blog, that can be a market study. But we want to do it in a digital first way, when we want, how we want, in the format we want. But what differs a ton in B2B buying process in comparison to our consumer buying processes is that there are usually more stakeholders involved in the B2B buyer process. Okay, so you're getting a new car and you want to be a good husband, so you involve your wife, maybe even your kids. You go car shopping together. You're probably still the final decision maker, perhaps, but there are not that many stakeholders involved. What we now see in the B2B buying processes is that even with smaller purchases, there are more stakeholders involved. So we need to talk with the sales director, who needs the budget from the CEO, who also wants to talk with the CFO, and then the sales team also, as users, usually get involved if they're even going to like the solution or not. And I cannot highlight enough that we need to have a plan in place that is just not a PowerPoint, that is not a deck, that is not a plan alone. It needs to be an execution plan. It needs to be easy to execute. It needs to be very straightforward and understandable for everyone involved, how it's executed, what are the metrics of success, and what happens if it's not executed. That's how you build a customer-driven plan. We also have a customer-driven demand plan whiteboard. You can steal for free. I'll leave it in the comments here. No need to leave your email anywhere. You can just download the kind of a whiteboard that has all the steps to create your own customer-driven demand plan map that's then ready for execution. We're ready to execute. We understand the challenges, the 4 key challenges. We agree that fractional demand leadership is the way to go to be agile and make most out of our resources. And we agree that we need a plan that's a customer-driven and ready for execution. That's the strategy. I'm a strategist, so I'm biased here, but that's your most valuable asset. That's your treasure map. That drives everything. Strategy is everything. But it's not the blueprint. The blueprint, or what we call as the demand center, is your visual identity and brand, your tone of voice, your style, your values, your culture, your colors, your fonts, your images, your videos, your website. Still, Joonas, in 2025, yes, your website is your digital home. It can be and it should be your best salesperson. Another topic for later, but website should be your best salesperson. That's where it all is, beautifully together in your control. And CRM, pretty classic stuff here, right? Brand, website, CRM. That's the good news. I haven't mentioned AI once, and it's already 32 minutes into this LinkedIn Live. So, basic building blocks. Those need to be in place so we can move forward. Then we need to get rid of the brand obscurity. We need to create awareness within our ICP. We need to create that interest. There are 3 stages in the awareness stage. Our ICP is not aware that they even have a problem. If your startup has a cool new innovation, that's often the stage, the awareness stage. They might be problem aware, or they even might be solution aware. And then we go back to the strategy, and we need to understand where our customers are. They're often in different sectors, so we need to then create content for each stage, each awareness stage, so we can educate them. Let them educate themselves. Once they're aware of the problem and the solution that exists out there, they might And they probably not even should know about you yet as a solution. But then we start creating trust. Hey, we know that you have a problem, and we know that you know that there's a solution out there. Can I talk about our solution as an option? Can you consider it? And would you trust us as a partner to solve your challenges? Because this is how much it's going to cost. But let me walk you through all the cool benefits and life after the investment and how it's actually a pretty risk-free. And a throwback tip, Mafia Offer alone with its 9 steps covers all of these. Once they're interested and they trust us, we need that world famous action. Last but not least. Okay, we understand you're a bit afraid, you're a bit scared even. This is going to cost you a lot of money. But this is how your life will be afterwards. And this is how you can make a decision. This is our onboarding process. This is the team you'll be working with. This is how our solution works. If it doesn't, here's our support portal, knowledge portal, everything you need to know to make a firm decision. And once we have this, we simply create content for each step and distribute accordingly based on our customer-driven strategy, using our demand center to distribute, align, measure. Every brand is unique. Every market is unique. Every B2B startup is unique. So I'm not going to stand here and say that we have found this one single truth that works for everyone, because no one has, no one can, because we're all unique. But I'm going to go through our best performing awareness funnel that we do a lot with Norders. This is the funnel we execute for ourselves currently. And this is the funnel that most of our B2B startup clients are currently executing because it is the best performing one. And it might just work for you as well. Back to the basics. We need to have our ICP database. So we talked about understanding our ICP, understanding our buyer persona. And what's cool about B2B, even in EU with our strict GDPR laws, is that we can create a B2B decision maker database with tools like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Apollo.io, or Cognism. And we can get the company names, the names of the prospects, their emails, or their LinkedIn URLs, and approach them in a legal GDPR compliant way. So let's not skip that important part. Once we have the database, the list, and we have obviously integrated with our CRM, we then activate it. And here we usually have two-folded ways. With B2B startups, there are B2B industries where LinkedIn is not the ideal channel. But as I said, this is our most performing channel, and most of the B2B industries have so much potential in LinkedIn. So we use a LinkedIn automation from your company's key personal brands. So not LinkedIn automation from the company page, but from your personal profiles. This is typically founder-led or then sales-led approach. So there's a LinkedIn automation. This is pretty small text. DM me. Let's book a meeting. I'll go through it in detail. So LinkedIn automation in this context means that from your personal profile, we automate connection requests. With LinkedIn, you can send starting from 100 new connection requests each week. If you're an active LinkedIn user, it can be even more. So we have an automation where we approach our ICP database and inviting them to our network. If you've used Instagram or TikTok, you've noticed that these channels, TikTok from the beginning has been a so-called interest-based social media platform. So it means that the content you see in the platform is based on your interests, not your network. Instagram started as a network-based platform. So you would see content from your connections, who you followed. But now that is also turning into interest-based model. LinkedIn challenged me here, but LinkedIn, as far as I know, is the last network-based platform. So what that means here is that you can invite with a LinkedIn automation people to connect with you with a soft message. Our typical LinkedIn automation connection request messages: hey, I'm Joonas from Norders, happy to connect with industry leaders like you. Around that. Then they join my network. Then they start seeing my content about these things because they're now in my network. How cool is that? All with automation. The automation has a few other nuances like post likes, profile visits to make sure they notice us. But that's the gist of it. Together with LinkedIn automation, we then run ICP awareness ads. And awareness ads are amazing because they're cheap, because awareness ads by design are ads that do not ask the person who sees them leave the platform, and platforms love that. They can run ads that they get money from, and no one even has to leave the platform. So we have the ICP database. We use that, our ad audience, and then we show ads to them, awareness ads. Once again, we have the content from the different stages that we went through and built content to. So what happens in the next stage? When someone gets a connection request message from you, what they typically do is, who the hell is this kid Joonas? And then they go to your profile, and now we have your profile optimized. So they're, oh, that's cool. They work with this stuff that could help a person like me. Your profile optimized, they start learning about the solution. They start learning about the brand. You start creating trust. Same thing with the ad. You show an ad where you, based on your unique knowledge of your ICP, you go through their challenges, the opportunities, the fears and hopes they might have. From your profile, they can find thought leadership provoking posts. You talk about their challenges, you talk about their hopes, you talk about how their life could be if that problem is solved. And a great way to create that thought leader, even for an early stage startup, even for a brand that is not known within their market, a great way to create awareness ads that do not ask the person to leave the platform, but engage the person watching them, is to create a market-driven survey. That's a cool name for a short questionnaire. As a startup founder, as a startup leader, you know how much you're supposed to ask questions, right? So have a small survey. Do market research. Make sure everything I showed before here, you will have an answer for. What are the key questions you need to ask from your audience that help you build your best performing funnel for them, that create brand awareness, that create high quality leads, that shorten sales cycles? Genius, right? I'm being modest here. A simple type form, a simple LinkedIn poll. You don't need to invest in any new technologies here. Simple questions, few open-ended ones. If you want to brainstorm what the best questions here to ask are, I'll be happy to help. That's how you create quality leads. We are currently, as I said, executing this funnel for ourselves at Norders, and it has blown us away how much just people answering our simple, we have 10 question long survey, how many after the survey hit us up and say, I didn't know you guys exist. I didn't know you're doing this. Those were pretty good questions. They really made me think. Let's have a conversation. That's it. Thank you, folks. I was pretty efficient. I was alone here today. Our sales director, Ray Molell, is doing sales. And if you're interested in partnering with us, we'll be happy to discuss if we're the right match for you. As I mentioned, we are now 2.5 years old. Last year, we hit our revenue of 600K. We're already, all the information, we're 14 people strong. It says 10 there. And we have a global network of specialists specializing in various B2B industries and markets and buyer personas located here in Espoo, Otani, on a beautiful Friday. We have our unique Norders system, the demand framework that combines demand leadership, fractional demand leadership, customer-driven strategies, digital funnels, all the way into making profitable growth a reality for our 2025 go-to-markets. Some of our results, we work with ambitious brands. If you have one of those, feel free to contact our ambitious team. We're here for you. We're not a SaaS company. We are a demand agency, but we work with leading technologies. We're technology agnostic. So whether you run on Pipedrive, HubSpot, Folk, Adio, Salesforce, WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, we're here for you. We work with the leading platforms. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you with me. Thank you, Carl. It was really great having you guys. And let's see you in the next one. Remember to follow Norders on LinkedIn and me, Joonas Kylliäinen. Hit that connect button and let's talk more. Thank you, Turkey. Let's make the rest of the year amazing and 2025 even better. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.